Wow, man. I mean, I genuinely can't even believe I'm like making this video. I figured I just kind of wanted to talk about the event, right? I mean, a lot of people are hopping in the watch party, trying to see my reaction to LAT going out dead last, top 8, first team eliminated from COD Champs after coming in as the overwhelming favorite, right? Betting odds, pick'ems, everything. Pretty much everybody, at least more than half of the fan base for COD, thought LAT was going to be the ones that took home COD Champs here, at the very least made grand finals, right? But they choked. They didn't play their game. They unbelievably played to a disappointment of the fans and anybody who's looking for good COD out of them. And they go out last. They lose to Boston, a team that's kind of had a weird, matchup with them, had their number a bit, especially on land. But you lose to them, and then you lose to Surge, a team that you were 6-0 against, losing red card hardpoint that you were 10-0 on. Losing both your controls this weekend when you were like 42-9 coming into the event. Yeah, I just kind of wanted to make this just to have like a quick little chat about my feelings about how this team just ended their CDL season. Obviously, still EWC to go, and just sort of talk about the team. People are asking, should they make roster changes? What should the team do? How should they feel about the season overall? So I want to talk about this because we also had a pretty good debate, and a lot of people thought I was coping at the end of the watch party when we were talking about this. So if you think I'm coping, that's cool, right? Everyone's entitled to their opinion when it comes to these sorts of things, and that's what makes it fun. In terms of the event, right, overall disappointment. There is just no reason this team should have played as bad as they did. Teamwork was not there. Even the comms, right, we didn't get a lot of listen-ins for them, but there was multiple times where like someone would shoot on the other team or would get a kill, and then it feels like the trades weren't there. They didn't know where enemies were at times. In control, they weren't valuing their life at all. In SND, especially versus Boston, it didn't look confident. It didn't look decisive. And then, yeah, I mean, you only win 2 maps at Champs when you come in as the favorite. It is really, really bad and just an utter disappointment. Now, the big thing, there's 2 big things, right, really, that people are talking about, which is kind of the whole point I even started to do this video, was should they make a roster change? And was their season a failure or was their season a success, right? I guess those are the 2 ends of the spectrum. We'll start out with the roster change thing. I don't think they should make a change. Again, I come from more of like the hopeful, optimistic, positive side of fandom. When my team loses, I'm not like crashing out, calling for heads, things like that. And there's some people that do that type of fandom, and that's cool. Everyone's allowed to be a fan in whatever way they want, right? But that's just not really me. When my team loses, I want to support my guys. It doesn't matter what 4 players are on the team. It could be a team of world champions like we had in the past. It could be a team of players that feel like they could have been world champions like we have right now, or a team like last year that everyone thought they pretty much had no chance at champs, right? No matter what, I'm going to support whoever plays for LA Thieves. It doesn't matter to me. But I don't think they should make a change. Even if I try to like take off my fan bias glasses and put them to the side and be objective, I don't think they should make a change, right? You have a team that's worked really well together, that has proven what they can do at their peak, and that they can play really good COD for, almost the entire season, right? They were 1 round away from winning Major 1. Major 2, they got chokeslammed by Boston Breach in round 1, and I guess that derailed everything. And then Major 3 and 4, they won. And then Champs, they got chokeslammed by Boston Breach, and it derailed everything again in round 1. So as long as we don't play Boston, maybe that's kind of the fix here. Or we got to figure out how to counter those guys. The Snoopy Purge, they were just handing it to us, it's felt like. But I don't think they should make a change, right? I don't think there's really a clear upgrade path. I think, the FaZe guys are staying on FaZe, especially with the way Optic's playing at Champs. The Optic guys are staying on Optic, right? There really isn't anybody. Some people might say, like, oh, get Joe DeCease back. But as much as I love Joe and I would love to see him back on Thieves one day, I don't think Ultra let him go unless someone pays a big buyout. And with how expensive this roster seemed to have been, I don't think Thieves are paying a buyout for anybody. So I don't think you make a change. You know what you're capable of. You just had a really bad weekend of COD, which, pretty much every team has a bad weekend, right? I know, like FaZe, they went out top 6 at an event this year. Obviously, that's better than top 8, especially at Champs. But FaZe had a bad, event. Surge have made 2 finals, got 0-4'd. They also, shout out 0-4, they got 0-4'd. They also got 2 top 12s, right? Everybody had bad weekends, and LATs just fell on the most important, the most critical event of the year, which is just highly, highly unfortunate. But the other one, and this is what we were like, kind of like low-key chat was like kind of on my ass in the watch party about this. And if you want to go back and watch it, go to towards the end of the watch party. Obviously, the VOD's on my channel, and you can open up the live chat on the side and sort of see. We were talking about, somebody asked me if I thought this season was a failure for LAT. And I said, no, I don't think this season was a failure. And, people were telling me I was coping, and we'll talk more about that. But it's not a failure of a season in my eyes, right? Like, you won 2 out of the 5 events, right? Still EWC to go. So if they go on and win that, right, it makes it even better, right? It makes the season a little bit better. But the season is by no means, in my eyes, a failure. You won 2 out of 4 events. You had the best player in the league who won MVP. You had 2 players on the All-Star first team or the team of the year, whatever you want to call it. You made a grand finals at one event that you didn't win. You really only had 1 choke, or I guess 2 chokes, right? We're gonna throw champs in there as well, but major 2 in champs that you definitely didn't play the way you were supposed to. And you also were the first seed, right? You dethroned FaZe from the #1 seed in regular season. Now, whether you think that matters or not, it's up to you. I don't think it matters all that much, but it's still like kind of a cool thing, right? Because I mean, FaZe they never lost. They were top 5 or top 1 for 5 years straight. So to me, the season was not a failure. Now, was it a success? I think by the standards this team had, I mean, I would say no. They were expected to win champs, right? To me, I thought they would win 2 events. I thought FaZe, Thieves, and Optic were all going to split the events 2-2 and 2 this year. Obviously, the whole Optic situation this season with their team changes kind of changed that opinion. But winning 2 events to me was kind of the expectation. But one of those being champs was the hope and also the expectation. So was it a success? No. Was it a failure? No. And really what people were arguing was like, we were talking about whether if Boston Breach or Optic Texas go on to win champs this weekend, right? Maybe you're watching this after champs happened. Maybe they won. I really don't know. Optic honestly looks like they're going to win based on the way teams are performing. But if one of those teams goes on to win champs, was their season more successful in LAT? Winning champs is the #1 thing. I'd rather win champs than win 2 majors, right? I think every player would agree with me on that. You'd rather win champs than 2 majors. Maybe you'd rather win champs than 3 majors. Some would rather win champs than all 4 majors, right? But just because a team that was, top 8 most of the season wins champs, I don't think meant they had a better year. I think the way I explained it on my watch party when we were talking about this was the most successful team and the best team are 2 different things, right? I would argue that. I mean, I guess now after the way champs just went with FaZe still being in, even if FaZe don't win, they were probably the best team, right? They were probably the best team this year across all 5 CDL events. But if Surge or Optic or, I mean, anybody who wins champs at this point, right? If it's not FaZe and it's obviously not going to be Thieves, they had the most successful season because that is like the event you want to win. I hope that makes sense. I don't know. People might have just already tabbed out and told me I was coping again, but that's the way I see it. I think they're different things, success and best, right? I think they're 2 different things. But LAT, bro, absolute disappointment of a weekend, man. Absolute disappointment. Didn't even make the weekend. Bro, I tweeted just an unfortunate weekend of COD, and someone responded, it's not even the weekend. They're literally out on Friday, and that shit is hilarious, but also hurts, right? Like, because it's the truth, but they didn't even make the weekend. I know Champs Sunday is just the finals, but still, they didn't even make the weekend. They didn't win a series at the biggest event of the year. Yeah, man, I know my fellow Thieves fans feel me. I know there's some Thieves fans that think this year is an absolute failure now because they didn't win champs. They don't care that we won Major 3 and Major 4, which if that's how you value what happens in COD, that's totally okay. I look at it differently. I think the majors hold weight because esports is different than regular sports, right? If you don't win the Super Bowl, right, your year is probably a failure if you're, an NFL team. In COD, if you don't win the Super Bowl, aka COD champs, you still could have won majors. You still could win EWC. So I think it's different than regular sports, which some people try to make that comparison. And I do sometimes too, but you can't always with everything, especially when it comes to winning, because it's very different. Yeah, man, I just pure disappointment. I really feel for the guys too. This is kind of a ramble video. So honestly, if you're watching at this point, I appreciate you. Shout out to you. You're probably someone who hangs out in the watch parties with me. So you know how much I appreciate you, but I really feel for the guys, man, right? Like it's got to weigh on you and it's got to suck to know and to think probably coming into this event that you have a real chance at winning, to want nothing more than to win this event. And to be coming off back-to-backs, probably feeling pretty confident, knowing you're capable of beating any team. I mean, you've beaten every team this season. I mean, honestly, they've probably beaten like every team on LAN, or at least all the other top teams that were going to be at champs. I think maybe other than Boston, they beat every team at champs on LAN, which is, maybe we beat Boston at one point on LAN. I really don't remember. But I feel for them, man. It's got to suck. It's got to really, really suck for all the players, the coaches, the staff behind the scenes. Nade shot. I know he ended his stream right after they lost. People were telling me in my chat. It's just, it sucks, bro. It really, really sucks. And I hope if there's any off chance and LAT players watching this, or a coach or a behind the scenes, or anybody's watching this from the camp, I hope you can regain. I really, really do. I mean, the fans, the real fans, I include myself in that, right? Maybe a little bit of self pat on the back, real fans. We support you. We have faith in you. We know you can regain going into champs. And it's just a matter of going back, getting your head right, keeping the vibes high, getting back in the lab and figuring out what went wrong, figuring out how you can, counter the teams you're going to end up qualifying or playing against in EWC in your groups and going from there, man. It's a sucky, sucky situation. It was the worst weekend to have a bad weekend of COD, but every team has it pretty much on a year. And this was just the one for Thieves. And it wasn't just a bad weekend. It was a really bad weekend, which really, really sucks. But yeah, I just wanted to, I don't know, throw out a little casual, pretty much unedited video out there just talking about this in case anybody wanted to know what I was thinking. Because obviously LAT going out top 8 is the topic of conversation for this champs. And probably will be for the most part, other than somebody winning it. We'll see what happens. I'm excited for the rest of the weekend either way. I mean, I guess the pressure of LAT being in the event is off. And I just want to watch good COD, man. If Optic go back-to-back, that'd be an insane storyline. If FaZe make the run of the first team ever to go from losers round 1 to winning champs, that would be an insane storyline. And if any other team wins, it would just be nuts, right? It would just genuinely be nuts to think that we're probably going to get a new winner unless FaZe does make history and do what I just said there. They could possibly do. So I don't know, man. Let me know what you guys think down below if you're an LAT fan or not. I'm disappointed, but I'm still proud of what they accomplished the rest of the season, and I hope they can regain. I hope they can get the vibes right. And, hey, next year, bro, Optic Dynasty didn't win champs their first time around. FaZe didn't win champs their first time around. Complexity didn't win champs, or at least the Complexity core didn't win champs their first time around, right? So I hope the boys stick together. They get back in the lab for EWC. They lock in for next season. And they can hold that peak out through champs, man, because that's obviously the big one. So thank you guys for watching. Again, thank you for 10K subscribers as well. We had 10,000 subs on this channel. I'll probably talk about that more a ton in the future, but insane milestone. So just thank you guys for everything. Watch parties, support, subscribers. You guys have been insane. And yeah, let's enjoy the rest of the weekend of COD, man. I'll see you all in the watch party. Peace out, chat. Peace.